They get excited. You know what they call you? The Inquisitor.
I'm hardly that.
That's a good one, isn't it? But what if you have a case of heresy on your hands? As the general's man, you have the power to act against us, don't you?
Oh, look, this is the end of the 20th century, not the beginning of the 13th. I mean, how can we even define a case of heresy today?
I'll define this one for you. Yesterday's orthodoxy is today's heresy.
But, Father Abbot, we're merely trying to create a uniform posture within the church. If everybody decides to worship in his own way, obviously that will create disunity.
Have a dish of tea.
All right.
Milk and sugar.
No, black's fine. Thank you.
All right. Explanations, as the Father General calls them. Where shall I begin? Did you know Ireland was the only country in the world where, once upon a time, every Catholic went to Mass of a Sunday? Everyone. Even the men.
That's impressive.
Until the time of Pope John, that was, when the new Mass came in. Well, we were like everybody else. We obeyed orders, went over to the mainland and said the new Mass in English. And the people stopped coming to church. Oh, some women, but the men and the boys stood outside smoking. So I was worried. I said to the monks, what on earth are we doing if we cannot persuade the people to come back into the church? It's the priest's job to keep their faith in Almighty God, and I don't want to tamper with their faith. So I decided we'd go back and say the old Mass in the old way, and, well, that's the whole story.
Well, hardly. This spring, you had 20 charter flights from Europe alone, plus pilgrimage groups from the United States and Canada. So large, in fact, that no church could hold the crowds. So you set up shop on a big scale up on Coombe Mountain, which in Cromwell's time was associated with rebellion. Mass was said in secret by outlawed priests, with some member of the congregation as lookout.
That was a mistake, but at the time I didn't see the connection. I just wanted to accommodate the crowds.
But you accepted a gift of loudspeakers from the local merchants here.
The people couldn't hear the service. It's customary to accept gifts that aim at enhancing worship.
And private confessions, Father Abbot. Is that another accommodation?
The people here are very conservative.
But you know as well as I that private confessions are no longer permitted, except in cases where the sin is so grave that special counsel is required.
But what am I to do? The people here still think it's a special sin to molest a child or take another man's wife, all that sort of thing. What am I to do if the people still believe that sin is mortal to the soul?
I know it must be difficult for you to accept, Father Abbot. But the idea of Catholics confessing their sins to a priest in private is very distasteful to other groups within our ecumenical brotherhood. And now that the new and easier form has been sanctioned by Vatican IV, well, you've read the debate, surely.
Yes, agreed. I know I'm out of step, but that's not the reason why you're here.
You know why I'm here. You know what's happening here. Mount Coombe has become a place of international religious pilgrimage.
You mean a sort of Lourdes?
As Lourdes was before it was closed down, yes.
We're not like Lourdes. There are no miracles here.
You went there once, didn't you?
A long time ago, yes.
After Lourdes, when you journeyed on to Rome, you asked for a meeting with our spiritual director there. You said that what you'd seen at Lourdes had caused you to have some religious doubts.
It's a long time ago. It's irrelevant to this discussion.
Well, there could be a connection. Some men compensate for former doubts by an excessive devotion.
There is a file on me in Rome?
Well, the order tries to keep complete personnel records, you know that. Listen, I'll be frank. We've just learned that now an American network is planning a special program on your Mass here, and Father General is very worried.
So that's it? Well, why didn't you say so? I can ban the telly people, no trouble at all.
Even the President of the United States can't ban American television.
I can refuse to have them filming on holy ground.
No. If you do that, you may lend this a significance you never intended. You see, what's happening here is being interpreted by some commentators as the first stirrings of a Catholic counter-revolution.
Sure, that's nonsense.
The church is one body, Father Abbot. What one part does affects the whole.
How I envy you. It must be rewarding to be like you, to feel you can change something in a world like ours.
Next month, The First World Congress of Christian and Buddhist Faiths will meet in Bangkok, and Father General has been chosen as president of that meeting. Now, any scandal about our order at this time could be fatal to the success of that meeting. A powerful faction is already in opposition. The Punji demonstrations in Singapore last month were the beginnings of that opposition. Now do you see what I'm talking about?
All I see is that because some Congress is going on at the other end of the world, we have to give up the old Mass here on Mount Coombe. It makes you wonder, what does the Mass mean nowadays? In Rome, what does it mean?
Well, religion has been opened up everywhere. The individual conscience is very important. Things are much more free.
Free, did you say?
Look, you are an abbot with the powers of a bishop. I needn't explain the importance for the seniors in our order to act in concert and set an example.
I asked you a question about the Mass. I don't think you answered me, Father.
The Vatican maintains that